We can ask everybody to come on in so we can begin, please. All right, my sisters and my brothers, let's prepare to get started. All right, first let us go over the 6th Episcopal District calendar. And this will be coming out to you. And I think it'll be on the screen, but when whatever changes are made, we will send it out to the district. Let me begin. June 26th to the 28th will be the Bishops' Council and General Board meeting. That will be here in Atlanta. Not here in Atlanta, but it will be in Atlanta. June 27th to the 29th will be the Bishops' Council and General Board. The Connection of Christian Education Congress will be June 30th to July the 2nd. And that'll be at the Marriott in Atlanta. July 12th to the 15th, 2022 will be the 6th District Leadership Congress at the Augusta Marriott Convention Center. August 19th to the 20th will be the CDMC retreat, the location to be determined. September 7th to the 8th will be the Presiding Elders Retreat, Callaway Gardens. September 15th to the 17th will be the 6th Episcopal District Lay Biennial, and the place will be determined. It will be in Atlanta, Georgia, but the place to be determined. September 23rd to the 25th will be the Ministers, Spouses, and PKs Retreat, location to be determined. October 12th to the 14th will be the 6th District Mid-Year Meeting, and that location will probably be changed. February the 6th to the 7th is Turner Seminary Founders Day. February 9th to the 11th is the 6th Episcopal District Founders Day, and Albany State is tentative. February the 11th is the Mswawo PK's breakfast. All right. March 1st to the 3rd will be the 111th session of the South Georgia Annual Conference, and it'll be at the Hilton Garden Inn in Albany. March 15th to the 17th will be the 127th session of the Southwest Annual Conference, and it will be hosted by St. James A.M.E. Church in Columbus. March 29th to the 31st will be the 158th session of the Georgia Annual Conference, and that'll be hosted by St. Philip on the Boulevard. August 12th to the 14th will be the 109th session of the Augusta Annual Conference, and it will be hosted by Bethel Church, Augusta. I'm sorry, April. I don't know why I said August. April. April 26th to the 28th will be the 140th session of the Macon, Georgia Annual Conference. It'll be hosted by St. Paul in Macon. And May 10th to the 12th will be the 149th session of the Atlanta North Georgia Conference, and it'll be hosted by Big Bethel. March 24th to the 26th will be the 6th District Planning Meeting, and that'll be here in Columbus, Georgia. And June 26th to the 28th will be the Bishops' Council and General Board meeting, and that will be in New Orleans, Louisiana. Any questions relative to the calendar? Any questions relative to the calendar? All right, let me go through a couple of things here. Elder Brinson, okay, the South Georgia is going to be at the Hilton Hotel, is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Elder Smith, Jackie Smith. The Southwest Conference is going to be at the church or a hotel? Reverend Baker? Is the Southwest Conference going to be at the church or at a hotel? Want a little sidebar? Y'all go ahead and get a sidebar. What did you say? All right, the Southwest Conference is hosted by St. James, but it's going to be here at the Trade Center. All right. All right, the South Georgia Conference, St. Philip on the Boulevard. Reverend Haithco here. Where's it going to be at? All right. Augusta Conference, Bethel, Rem Hall. All right, it's going to be at Bethel Church on Crawford Avenue. All right, the Macon Conference, Reverend Dr. Moore. Y'all going to be at the church or the hotel? All right, at the church. All right, Dr. Foster. All right, I presume it's going to be at Big Bethel, I presume. All right. Any questions on the annual conferences? Now, remember, as I said, this year, the annual conference will be 3 days instead of 2 days. All right? The missionaries will have Tuesday, and the conference will have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Any questions on that? All right. Elder Reverend Ephraim. I'll probably be resting. No, right now I don't see anything. I've not yet, and thank you for the question, I've not gone over the itinerary yet. If it's possible to get everything in on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we would do that. If we can't, for example, the Sons of Allen might be on a Monday night as opposed to somewhere else. But that's the only thing I could imagine going on Monday. Yeah, if I'm correct, I think the YPD wants to meet the Saturday before conference, and I think the DMC is before the conference. Their concern was if it's after the conference, people won't show up. Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Ms. Brown, we're pretty set with the planning meeting next year being here in Columbus. All right. Now, where are we for the mid-year meeting? All right, for the Founders Day and for the mid-year meeting in October, we're looking at Savannah. Is that correct? Okay. All right. The question was asked about the lay night during the annual conference. I've not yet done it, but off the top of my head, I would suggest that the missionaries will meet on Tuesday. And the Sons of Allen will have their service on Tuesday night. On Wednesday morning would be the opening of the annual conference. The afternoon session would be the business reports. That evening would be the lay night. On Thursday, the business session in the morning. Then noonday, let me back up. Tuesday would be the opening worship service. That afternoon would be the roll call, organization of the conference, and then the electoral college. Tuesday night, Wednesday night rather, would be the lay service. On Thursday morning would be the business session. Then at noonday, it'd be the women in ministry. Then on Thursday night, I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Then on Friday at 11 o'clock will be the ordination service, and 7 p.m. will be the closing and commissioning service. Any questions on that? Any questions? All right. Now, my brothers and my sisters, the end of this month, we will be hosting the Bishop's Council and the General Board. There's some things we will need some assistance on. Let me state, we did not ask to host this meeting. George has hosted a whole lot of meetings. We didn't ask to host this meeting. Bishop Brailsford, who was the incoming president of the council, called and asked if they could host, if they could have his investiture here, because where he wanted to go, they would not accept the meeting. So that's how the meeting got to be in Atlanta. So it'll be the Bishop's Council and the General Board and the Connection of Christian Education Congress. All right. Dr. Moore, I'm sorry, Dr. Sylvia Moore. Where's she at? Stand up, Dr. Moore. In the back, where? You got to come out from behind the pole. You trying to hide from me. You and Sister Brooks want to say anything about the folk we need for the reception? Somebody gives Dr. Moore a microphone. Y'all, this is Dr. Sylvia Moore, the WMS president.
Thank you, Bishop. The WMS and lay has been asked to serve at the reception, so we have been asking for the lay and WMS, and some of the minister spouses have agreed to work with us as we get together to make sure we have hostesses and stewardesses for the event. If you should have been, some of the churches have been reached out to get, make sure we have stewardesses, and some of the we've also been asked to have armor bearers for the supervisors, so we have been reaching out to the ladies to help with that as well. So if y'all have anybody in y'all church that want to join, please let me know. Reverend Hall said he has a lot of people for me. Thank you, Bishop.
Reverend Hall said what?
He has a lot of people that's willing to help.
That's what she said. You have a lot of people willing to help? All right, that's Dr. Hall. All right. Now, that Sunday before, I think that's June the 26th, I'm waiting for the response back from some of the bishops, but I suspect some of the bishops will be preaching at different churches in the Atlanta area. The one I know I can confirm, Bishop Fred Wright will be preaching at St. Philip on that morning. And when we get to confirmed, we'll send out a notice in terms of where they'll be preaching. All right? I won't be preaching anywhere because I'm going to be hosting, and where I won't be preaching. All right? If I'm correct, I think Sister LaTanya Moore is arranging for the music for the Council of Bishops for the investiture service. And some of you will be asked if you would drive the bishops, and we will coordinate that with you. Any questions on the Bishops' Council and the General Board meeting? All right. Any other questions at all on the calendar? All right. Dr. Moore, does the missionaries have any meetings? I'm sorry, who had a yes, Reverend Alexander?
Yes, sir, Bishop Jackson. We appreciate you visualizing the calendar on the screen.
I didn't, what'd you say, Reverend?
We appreciate you visualizing the calendar on the screen for us. But after the meeting's over, will we be able to read this on the SED website? Or I didn't get everything that was on the calendar. I'm not that fast.
After the calendar's finalized, we're going to make copies for the whole district.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Moore.
But she said, you said WMS Day is Monday, but it's Tuesday. Doesn't the discipline
Oh, I'm
say
sorry.
the day before that? Yeah, because Council President.
Let me clarify. If I said the WMS Day was Monday, that's my error. The WMS Day will be Tuesday. Now, what time y'all in, Sister Dr. Moore? What time y'all meeting in? On Tuesday. This year y'all got election? Next year the quadrennial, isn't it?
Yeah, but people didn't fund the regular elections this year, so they should be back in office. The year Council President should carry us to the party.
Okay. What is the date of the quadrennial? Anybody know the date of the quadrennial? Say what now? Y'all give Sister Lorelai a microphone.
Hi, Bishop. It is July 25th through the 28th for the YPD. The 29th is Transition Day, and then the Women's Missionary starts July 3rd through August the 1st or the 2nd.
All right, so July what is the YPD?
25th through the 28th, with the 29th being a Transition Day
Okay.
in Orlando, Florida.
July 30th to the, what is the WMS?
It's the 30th through August 3rd or 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. President Moore, is it the 3rd or the 2nd?
All right, now,
The 3rd.
okay, the reason I bring that up is because this is the year where I think the A.M.Es have lost their mind. Because it really makes no sense. June 26th to the 28th, the Bishops' Council and General Boards meeting in New Orleans. July the 25th to the 28th, the YPD's meeting in Orlando. Then July 30th to August 3rd, the WMS's meeting in Orlando. It would seem to me that you could save the church a whole lot of money if you combine some of these meetings. If you could take the Bishops' Council and the General Board and make it around the same time as the YPD and WMS, it will save you a trip and a whole lot of money. Now, is Sister Brooks here? Is Alfreda Brooks here? All right. All right, because the other question I wanted to ask, if I'm correct, and you all let me know if I'm wrong, but if I'm correct, the lay biennial is also next year, and y'all in August. See, that's crazy. So you'll spend, well, at least I will spend July and August flying across the country. So some of these meetings need to be combined. All right, but anyway, you have the dates. Now, where's the late biennial at? Where? Illinois, Chicago. Chicago. In August? Do y'all know how hot it is in Chicago in August?
They enjoy that heat, Bishop.
They enjoy the heat.
Yeah, because they don't get it much.
Y'all need to get a mic because y'all speaking in tongues.
Bishop, that was the promise we had to make in order to get out of the contract in 21. That we will come back in 23.
All right. What's the date for the biennium?
It's sometime in August, not quite sure. It's the first part of August.
All right, anybody else want to have a meeting that time? All right. Yes,
Bishop,
Elder
Bishop.
Mathis?
Yes, sir. Is Founders Day going to be in September? I mean, not September.
Is
in
who?
Savannah, Founders Day. Going to be
Father's Day.
Founders Day.
You said Father's Day.
No,
Oh, Founders Day, I'm sorry.
Founders Day. Is it going to be in Savannah?
Sister Brown? Sister Brown,
I think that
where we having Founders Day?
it was said at the meeting yesterday.
Tentatively, it is Albany State University. However, as you said, Presiding Elder Stevenson did mention about going back to Savannah, but after I talked with him, he said that he's willing to take another meeting, but we're going to make a final decision on the calendar next week, and you all should get one via Facebook, as well as we'll send it out on our constant contact.
Okay, Bishop, okay, I understand.
Yes, Elder Mathis.
Is the mid-year meeting going to be in Savannah?
Sister Brown, where the mid-year meeting? I just go where I'm told.
Again, Bishop, all of these dates that you see in locations are tentative. As we check with the hotels and the venues in those cities, we have to make some adjustments. What you saw was just a suggestion, but we will have the final calendar. We will contact the hotels, venues, so that we can make sure that we accommodate everybody. So what you saw was tentative. That's what we're planning, but it may have to change.
Yes, ma'am.
Problem is Savannah's a resort,
Yes, sir.
and everybody wants to go to Savannah.
Yes, sir.
And so if the hotel is not available, then we have to do something else.
All right, I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Any other questions on the calendar? All right, thank you. All right, next. Now, my sisters, my brothers, I have a major concern as it relates to our work with children and youth. I mentioned to the elders yesterday that I am very concerned, and I'm going to be addressing this on and on at coming meetings, beginning with the Leadership Congress. At the South Conference YPD meeting, I think they had the largest attendance of any conference for YPD meeting. And they had maybe 30 or 35 YPDers. The Southwest Conference, I think, had about 8 or 10. The Georgia Conference, I think, had about 8 or 10. The Augusta Conference. 22. Say what now? 22. Who had 22? Dr. Moore? They came late? Well, anyway, during the meeting, if I'm correct, they had 8. Then during the Macon conference, I think they had like 12. And then at the Atlanta North Georgia conference, it might have been maybe 20. My brothers and sisters, that's just horrible. That's just horrible. We have a whole lot more YPDers than that. Then the second thing is the CDMC. They had wonderful CDMC programs at every conference. They were wonderful. The concern I had was we have so many more young people who are graduating who ought to be in the CDMC. A whole lot more. I think the largest participant of seniors may have been Atlanta, and they, I think, had 9, if I'm correct. But we have a lot more, and they need to be participating in the CDMC. That is a nice event and something they should remember. The other thing which particularly troubled me about the CDMC, the young people, what they call them, Brown? What's the young people in the DMC? The Allenites and somebody else. The Allenites and the sub-debutantes. They really, to me, almost make the program. And Atlanta this year, only the Atlanta Conference had the Allenites and what you call them? Sub-debs. Macon had them? All right, Macon and Atlanta were the only 2. All right, and RAYAC is in existence basically in title only. So we have got to do a better job with our children and our youth. And my concern is I don't think the problem is with the youth. I think the problem is with the adults. And let me say, for example, with the YPD, one of the absolutely essential components of the YPD are area directors. If the area directors aren't good, the conference program is not going to be good. Because the YPD, it's the connectional level, Episcopal District level, the conference level, the area level, and then the local church level. If there's a breakdown in any one of those levels, it has a problem. The difference between the YPD and almost everybody else is those other organizations work top down. the strength of the YPD is bottom up. Most of our young people, YPDs, are in the local church. They should go from the local church to the area, to the conference, to the district, and then connectional. And so I'm saying that to say, with the YPD, it is absolutely essential and necessary that you have some consultation and input with the presiding elders. I say that because the presiding elders should, and I'm emphasizing should, know the people on their district better than anybody else. And so they should be able to give you a recommendation for a very good area director. I'm not sure how you get an area director for a presiding elder district or in a presiding elder district without getting some input from the presiding elder. So I want to urge WMS, you need to be in consultation with the presiding elders. In addition to that, pastors in your local church, and y'all correct me because we got so many constitutions in the A.M.E church, I can't remember what all of them say. But in the YPD, the local church director, that's appointed by the missionaries or they're elected. Somebody tell me something. All right, so the local church YPD director is elected by the missionaries. Now let me tell you, you need to get a good local YPD director. Now, why would you elect somebody YPD director who doesn't have rapport with young people? So it's critically important. If they don't have rapport with the young people are not going to be involved. If the young people are not going to be involved, why do you have a YPD? So it is critically important. Likewise with the CDMC, again, I don't think it's the young people. I think we've got to get the young people involved. Now, the CDMC has a wonderful teaching program, but parents need to get their children involved. The local church, you need to get the young people in your local church involved. Now, last night during our service, somebody else was having something here, and there are a lot of young people here. There's no reason why we ought not have a lot of young people. So again, I'm really calling on our area directors and our local directors with the YPD. I'm calling on our Christian education leadership and our local churches. I think we have some pretty good CDMC directors and the conference and assistant, what they call them, conference coordinators or whatever the title is. So I think we need to put the right people in the right place. We have young people all over. Now, first let me say this, any questions as it relates to the YPD and the CDMC? Any questions? Lorelei, you want to say anything about the YPD? Dr. Moore, you want to say anything about the YPD? What'd she say?
She said she'll yield to me. Bishop, I am in agreement that we can do more for our young people. There has been a lot going on, and yes, we do need to reorganize at the area level as well as the local level. And in my speech tomorrow, I was going to challenge the area, be it the area Women's Missionary, area YPD, and the presiding elders. The problem with the area YPD, we have directors, but no officers. So if you don't have officers, then you don't have a YPD on your area.
Why we don't have officers?
Exactly. So at this point, leadership, every area should have a functioning YPD slate. And then they can start functioning as an area YPD. So I'm going to challenge the presiding elders, the women's missionary, and the area YPD directors to work together, because surely, as you said, on the area, we have at least 12 young people that we can train as a leader. And then we're also going to open up all of our communication. I talked to the spouses yesterday. I talked to the women's missionary. Anything that we do, we're opening up to everybody. I even told the presiding elders they're going to be on my email list, so everybody will know what's going on. So it can't be we didn't get the information. So we are challenging the 6th District to bring our youth back.
All right, thank you. Sister Brown, you want to say, Dr. Moore?
Bishop, at St. Paul, Macon, we implemented something called Super Saturday, where we would have YPD meeting, and after YPD meeting, we would have our CDMC curriculum. And after that, we would have our choir rehearsal, and we did that once a month. I think one of the big problems is that we forget that we're dealing with the same kids. Same kids that are involved with CDMC, 9 times out of 10 are the same kids that are involved with YPD. And they have to sometimes feel as if they need to choose or pick between the two as far as responsibility. I think that if we were to make it easy for them, even on an area level, if we did something on the same day or did something collectively, then we perhaps would get more participation.
All right. Sister Brown, you want to say anything about CDMC? Why don't you go and sit down next between Brinson and Hall, so you'd be right there.
Thank you, Bishop. Just pretty much the same as Reverend Moore said, and that's something that we do implement in CDMC. We ask our commissioners to pretty much ask the YPD if we could be in on their meetings, and we have one session so that we won't take up all of their free time, the children. But Sister Lorelei Johnson and I have been talking, and we've been planning some things together. We're going to collaborate on a lot of things, and just as I told the presiding elders, next year, during our annual conference, you will see a little different CDMC program, and in 2024, we will only have one CDMC ceremony for the entire state of Georgia. So we thank you all for your support, and we ask that you continue to support our ministries.
All right. Now, my brother and sister, also as it relates to the young adults, the 6th District has more than 6 or 7 young adults. But right now, it seems like there's 6 or 7 young adults who control everything when it comes to young adults. And so I'm going to see that, I don't want to use the word break it up, but I want to see that we expand that. There are a lot more young adults than the 6 or 7 who seem to run everything. And so, again, it's important that in the local church, we have young adults who are involved. And let me also say, the A.M.E. Church has got to do some serious consideration about our youth work. Now, I'm going to say something in a minute that's going to get folk upset with me, but I know I'm right. First of all, we need to stop treating young adults in this church like they're children. Now, these young adults got jobs. Some of them got children. So you can't teach them like they're children. They're adults. Second thing is, with the YPD. And I'm glad the supervisor's not here to hear me say what I'm getting ready to say. And if y'all say I said it, I'm going to tell them, look at the tape. Because I know she's not going to look at the tape. But no, what I'm about to say, I've said to her. The YPD, the WMS needs to reconsider the age limit for the YPD. Because, Brother and Sister, at the age of 18, the law considers you to be an adult. At the age of 18, by law, you are considered an adult. So again, you can't teach young adults like they're little kids. And so the YPD, the WMS, needs to give serious consideration to the age of a YPDer. I think the YPD needs to go up to age 17. Now that's where I am. In addition to that, you know, people other than the bishop's kids can hold an office. I'll say it again, other than the bishop's kids can hold an office. You see, but right now, almost every time something come up, it's a bishop's child or grandchild. So we really got to give some serious, sincere thought to youth work in the church. And so I'm going to push the 6th district to at least begin some consideration and maybe present some legislation to deal with it. Matter of fact, I was so frustrated at the quadrennial that we had in 2019. I was so frustrated. And I think I told the missionaries from the 6th district, the average age of a delegate to the quadrennial was about 70 years old. That's about the average age. And so legislation was put in which would create more opportunities for delegates to younger missionaries. And I just knew it was going to pass. So the choice was between younger missionaries or life members. And sure enough, the life members won out. It's almost like saying we don't need no young missionaries. So we really need to give some serious thought to what it is we're doing. Any question on that before I move on to the next item? All right. So now when y'all go tell the supervisor what I said, what y'all gonna say I said? I ain't gonna tell her check. No, I think the WMS need to change the age for YPDers up to 17. Because when you get to be 18, you're an adult. And it's not the young people's department, it's the young people's division of the WMS. Somebody had a question? Yes, sir. Here's a YPDer with a question.
Hey, Bishop.
How you be?
So, speaking of young people being 18, so it's the young people's division. I would say 22 because young people are still considered college students at the age of 22. And so that's why I would say let's extend it to 22 because it would not be too smart to have a 14-year-old holding a connectional position with the whole connectional church and they can't even drive a car. Or they can't even go to meetings if their parents don't take them. Or the local church don't have a van or a transportation system that would take them. So I would say 22 because you're mature enough to hold a position and you're able to suffice for your own. Because I wasn't able to do it at the age of 13. First of all, because I wasn't mature enough to hold a conference position at the age of 13. And it really was not convenient to hold a position and go to school and do all of that stuff at the age of 13 or 14 or 15. But the problem with our church is are we offering things at the local level? We have children probably at the local level, but the local level isn't taking it to the conference level. The local directors, we're sending this stuff out, but the local pastors and the local directors aren't sending the stuff to the children. But are the area directors even sending it to the children? That is my question. I can't stress that enough.
Well, let me thank you first of all. I like the way you jumped right up and spoke. Now, let me ask you this question. You mentioned that you thought a 14-year-old would be too busy and all in school to hold a position with the YPD. Do you think a 22-year-old in college is going to be, do you think they're going to be in a position where if, do y'all remember when Matthew Watley was the YPD president? It was a battle royal. I mean, it was a whale of a battle royal. William Watley was like 24, 25 years old. He was a connectional YPD president, and the Episcopal supervisors, rather than at 25 years old, they didn't look at him as being a young adult. And he felt disrespected because they talked to him, he said, like he was a little kid. And if I'm correct, I think he ended up resigning. But I know they had a meeting, we had a meeting someplace, and every supervisor from around the world came. And I said, they all got together to come out against this 25-year-old young man because he didn't act like he was supposed to act as a YPDer. There's a difference when you get in your 20s. You don't think like you did when you were 14 or 15 years old. When I was 14 or 15 years old, I didn't tell my parents what I was going to do. But when I get to be 24 or 25, I'm not sure my parents ought to be telling me what to do. So those are the questions you have to deal with. There's a big difference between being see, the other thing is, when you elect the YPD president, the perception is that if you become the connectional YPD president, because you're the president, you're going to have all this power and authority. Well, the reality is you may be the president, but you're still not going to do nothing until you run it past the director. That's just the reality. So that's why I say we really need to give some consideration. Now here come Elder Ingram. She know how it was when she was a little kid. Nobody, go ahead, Elder.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you know, little kid, woman, either way, in this here A.M.E. Church. But I think part of the dilemma for us and for young people more than anything is about relationship, right? And so when you talk about how they treated who was then the president and how the people came, it is our ability to be in relationship with others and stop othering people, right? That it is like the preachers have preached about, we want power and control, and we want all power and all control. And so I think if we talk more than about age, but we talk more about how it is that we ensure that seniors are able to communicate effectively with young people, and young people are able to communicate effectively with seniors. Not that anyone is trying to usurp another's power, but that we are all working together towards a common goal. And so when we look at talking about how young people are grown, or 15 and 13 and 14-year-olds may not have the autonomy to go out and do what they want or serve in the office or have the capacity to serve, or that 20 to 26-year-olds have more things going on, and how people may come and attack them because they are voicing their God-given opinions and learning and utilizing the things that they've learned. The problem is that we do not respect one another. We do not respect one another's opinions. We do not respect one another's time. We are not spending enough time getting to know one another and working towards a common goal, which is that God would be glorified in our young people, that God would be glorified in our seniors, that God would be glorified in our actions, that people would want to show up, that we would have activities that people want to do. And so I think more than just an age situation, we got to figure out how to get along with one another and to respect one another and work together, that God would be glorified in us.
You know, let me say this. If we want to be realistic and honest, and let's just be realistic and honest, all the parents in here who raise your hand, all the parents. All right. I want to know any parent in here who's got a child between 18 and 20 something where you haven't had wrestling matches. That's part of growing up. That is just part. The older a child gets, when that child gets to be, starts around 17, 18 or something, probably younger than that, they starting to feel their oats. That's what's happening with YPD. They're starting to, and like everybody else, if they hold a position, they want to feel like they have some authority in that position. That's just part of growing up. That don't mean they bad kids. I would be terribly frustrated if my daughter got to be 18, 19 and felt like she had to come to me for everything. That's part of growing up. They want to exercise their independence. That's part, you know, my mother got my brother so angry because my niece, Erin, asked her father and mother if she could do something, and they told her no. And Erin was like 16, I guess, so she turned around and went to her grandparents, my mother and father, and asked them, and they said yes. And Erin went and did it. And my brother and his wife said, "Didn't we tell you no? We're your parents." And Erin said, "Yeah, but my grandmother and grandfather said yes." And my brother Everett called himself going to jump on my mother because she overrode what they said. And my mother promptly told my brother Everett, "I don't want to hear nothing you got to say because grandchildren are God's way of helping parents get even with their children." You see? Giving you a dose of what it was like when we were growing up and we went willy-nilly on what we wanted to do. So that's the part of the tension. And my only thing is the missionaries need to understand that as our young people get older, especially at 17, 18, they're going to want to feel as if they have some authority. So anyway, I just throw that out for that discussion, but that's where we are. All right, let me say something real quick about somebody else. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I apologize.
I just want to give one last statement to that. And I just want to say, growing up in the YPD, we were taught by our WMS and our YPD directors how to use our voice and to say what we want and to voice our concerns. As it is mentioned, it says Young People's Division. While we do have YPD directors and WMS presidents, they look towards us because it is our organization. With Vice President Cloud and the LTI and President Norris, they voice their concerns and they voice what they would love to see. And we also listen to the youth of the Connectional, and we put on a great Connectional LTI if you guys were able to go. But I think the main thing is, at 21 and 22, we do have that relationship. I have that relationship with my own conference director, my Episcopal director, as well as my connectional director. I can call on them. I can also call on my WMS presidents. And I think to his point, at 22, we are still in that mindset of maybe I'm not an adult, but I do have a voice. And YPD does allow us to have that voice within the A.M.E. church. And that is our voice within the A.M.E. church. And so if we step back, we almost are being silenced at a younger age than being allowed to have a voice at the young age. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Bishop. I'm Constance Brim, and I am Area YPD Director for Valdosta South. And I've listened, and I understand the concerns, but one of the things that we have to do as area directors is get our directors to work with the YPDers, because what I found out that the majority of the directors are not having meetings consistently like they need to, and we have to consistently meet with these YPDers. This young group, if you are not consistent, you are going to lose them. Consistency is the answer. Number one, if you have consistency, you will get to know these YPDers, and then once you get to know them, they'll get to know you. They'll be willing to work with you. And they're very creative, they're very strong-minded, and they're very intelligent. And they know when you want to be bothered with them, and they know when you don't want to be bothered with them. So my challenge to every YPD director is to get to know your YPD children, to be consistent with them. We have to meet with them once a week, because if we don't, we will lose them. And it is so imperative that we keep them. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Hayco.
Thank you, Bishop. One of the things that I've been missing the past couple of years is our 200-voice youth choir. If we're going to encourage our young people to be at our state meetings, I think we need to have something for them to do. Yesterday, I had several people come to me and ask me to go around and look at this other church that was worshiping, and I did. And I noticed they had an entire section back here just for the young people. And so my question is, why don't we have our YPD here at this meeting? Why don't we have our young people participating in a 200-voice choir? Why don't we have our young people participating and evaluating us on what they want? I made a big mistake at St. Philip recently. SCAD donated computers, desktop computers, to our church. I thought it would be wonderful to put it in the Lion's Den, which is our youth department's room. The young people accused me of taking their room away from them. And I said, no, I didn't do that. I gave you computers. I made a huge mistake. Our children don't use desktop computers. This is their computer. And so when they go into their rooms, they don't sit at desktop computers. They have phones and tablets. So I made the mistake. I thought I was doing what was best for our children. But I think we need to listen to our children and find out what they think is best for them.
Anyone else? All right, thank you so very much. Yes.
Yes, Bishop. I just wanted to contribute to the conversation in regards to our youth.
Use your preaching voice.
Okay, is that better, Bishop?
That's fine.
Okay, great. I just wanted to contribute to the conversation in regards to our youth. Our youth are very, very important to us. We say all of it at the time. But we do not show our youth that they are important. And because we do not show that our youth that they are important, we lose them. We lose them graduating from high school. We lose them when they graduate from middle school, simply because they feel like somebody else have more to offer us, to offer our own children than we ourselves. So we need help, a solution to the pollution, so to speak.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. Jasmine.
So I guess I just want to speak from personal experience. Growing up in the YPD, there was a disconnect when you go to college, so the young man said. But I also believe that that's where the next group, RAYAC, comes in, R-A-Y-A-C. I'm not really sure if that's how you pronounce it, but that's
right.
Okay. So, and I think that the disconnect is where RAYAC is supposed to step in, is where they help with that college transition. They give you the tools that you need to succeed, where YPD no longer gets involved. And so I do feel like it's a shame that, you know, we do have a lot of young people who will leave the church or don't feel like they're being encouraged or helped and supported when they go to college or when they transition from one group to another. And I think that's where we need to kind of find the disconnect to continue to help the youth, because that is a big concern. I didn't have that help in between. Being in a smaller town, the information wasn't passed on the way it should have been. And so a lot of the youth that I went to church with are no longer involved. And I do have a lot that stayed in the church and grew, but there are a lot that didn't. And I think that's where that disconnect comes from. But I don't feel like the church just dropped off, I think, because RAYAC was never really, it was, I think, newer for us, so we didn't really have much information about it. But I think that if it becomes stronger and we get the information, that we'll definitely be able to keep and retain the young people that we have that are transitioning to that age group.
Excellent. Thank you. Reverend Logan.
Blessings, Bishop. Blessings, family. Greetings. Two things. One is, I think there's, it kind of connects to what Elder Beelan was saying about relationships. There's a lot of church hurt among our young people, and I think there's a lot of healing that we probably need to pay attention to. Many times when they attempt to speak and are not heard, they'll just simply not say anything else. And in many cases, there may be a need to sort of step back and do some healing, some relationship building, and not be so quick to organize and have activities as much as, or fundraisers as much as it is to just have experiences of coming together, just for the purpose of building, again, relationships. The second thing, and I guess it's also related to what Reverend Dr. J. Haithka was saying, is to ensure that there is a why to it. Why are we coming together? I was extremely excited when I saw our young people work with respect to the justice issues that we had. You had young people involved in the marches and in the demonstrations. Zoomers and Xers are connected to causes, not simply activities. And I think we are extremely well positioned as the denomination to kind of open that up. My son, Lewis, right now talks about the experiences he had as a YPDer. He's in Destrehan, Louisiana, and he's a leader in his community. And he connects back to his experiences in the YPD today. He talks about the relationships that he developed over time, and he's extremely well suited to pass that on to others. So I think those are some things that we need to probably do. Evaluate relationships and also kind of connect with the why of what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Good afternoon, Bishop. Before I say what I'm going to say, first let me say I agree with all that is being said, and it has a valid point. I am a product of the YPD. I was a YPDer until I was 26 years old, and at 27, I joined the WMS Society. Now, with everything that's going on, and I hear people saying, well, you know, our kids are busy, they're involved in all of this, that, and the other. I was an extremely extraordinary, busy preteen, teenager, and young adult. I was involved in just about every extracurricular activity you could think of. However, in addition to building relationships and having a place so that our children and our young adults and our young people can have a voice, there has to be prioritization. I was not asked, do you want to go? Do you want to be involved? I was told if you can go to the football game on Friday night and you can go to the basketball game on Saturday night, on Sunday morning you can get up and be in Sunday school and you can be in church. I took dance. I played a musical instrument. I was in Girl Scouts. I was a part of the marching band. I was a major. I did everything. But when it came to church, when it came to the YPD, Reverend Margaret Mitchell Giddings and Reverend Samuel Smith Giddings let it be known in our house, God comes first. There has to be a priority, and that example was set for me at home. In my house, the dog wagged the tail. The tail did not wag the dog, and I saw that firsthand. So where our children are concerned, we need to tell them you can be involved in everything. You can have all of the talents and gifts and graces that God gives you, but your first priority has to be your soul salvation. It has to be your foundation for your tenets of faith. And you have to be able to go to church and not have the attitude, well, I've got this to do, or I'd rather be here, or I'd rather be there, because God is not an afterthought or a second thought. He must be your first thought. And we have to teach our children that and prioritize. But part of the problem, and I know some people are going to be angry with me, but that's okay. I'm used to being on the hot seat. That's what I do every day for a living down at Fulton County as an attorney in the public defender's office. Our children don't prioritize God because they don't see their parents prioritizing God at home. They come to church and they hear us bickering with each other. They hear us talking about each other. They're hearing us tear each other down. I have a 27-year-old right now who broke my heart 3 years ago because she said to me, I know you want me to go to church, but church is not like it used to be when I was growing up, when Papa, that's what she called my father, God rest his soul, was pastoring. What y'all are doing at church, I see that every day out on the street. I don't need to come to church and have that. So I tell you what, I'm going to stay at home and read my Bible. I'm going to listen to some music, and I'm going to talk to God for myself, because what y'all got going on, I have no desire to be a part of. And she called us out. She said, you all are hypocrites, you are phony, and you are fake. And if you all keep going down this path, you're going to lose my generation of people. And we want a place, we want a voice, we want to worship, but y'all are playing church and we don't have time for it. That's what our young people are saying. Thank you.
Bishop, and I know we're going on, and we could be here
Last
all day
one,
long.
and we'll close it off.
We could be here all day long. The problem is not YPD. The problem, as she said, is the church in general. My president just texted me and said, Sister Lorelei, the problem is we are not a part of the planning. We are not involved. Nobody asked us. And as a church, we have to be able to accept them as they are, as Reverend Giddings just said. We know that the children are out here. Their lifestyles are different. We don't allow them to be who they are. The church voted down an issue, and the YPD board blew up because they said they don't accept us for who we are. But yet, they started naming people who were just like them. We as a church have to realize, as the kids said, we can't keep being fake. We can't keep saying things, but not allowing them to be who they are. And if you look at it, they are emulating us, but we won't accept them. Our young people are here for us, but are we there for them? We could put the blame on YPD. We could say it's the women's missionary, but the YPD and missionary does not make up the whole church. There's the lay, there's the pastors, there's everybody. It's all of us. Ask yourself, have you reached out to a young person? Do you talk to them and allow them to say or be who they are? And we could point fingers all day long. But the bottom line, we need to start loving on our kids, because they can go to school and guess what? They might not make it home. So we could talk all day to tell what the issue is or what the problem, but let's do what we do best. Let's be a Christian and love our kids. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Now, my brothers and my sisters, is D. Hagler here?
I'm sorry, I just,
There you go.
I had a comment for the lady in the red, and I agree with most parts that you say, but I know as someone that's a part of YPD and someone that's going into like that teenager stage, if you're telling your kids, you know, get up, do this, do that, it's not gonna make us feel encouraged to go to church. It's not gonna wanna make us be a part of anything, because all we're gonna do is feel like, oh, well, she's yelling at us for not doing this. So I don't feel like it's my, you know, my heart that's telling me, you know, I should go here and I should, you know, have this freedom to, you know, be who I am in a church setting. So I feel like at YPD, you know, we're doing certain things, and yes, it can be fun as well, but people need to take the time to like realize, like, just yelling at us and telling us, you know, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, I don't care how you feel about it, you're gonna come, you're gonna do this, it's just making us feel like we don't really have that love and support to go out here. So like, if you wake us up early in the morning and we're all cranky and just telling us, you know, you're gonna go here and you're gonna do what I want you to do, instead of encouraging us to say, you know what, they're gonna have some fun, you know, you're gonna do this, you know, maybe afterwards, you know, we could go talk, you know, I could get to know something about you. And a lot of our YPD directors don't really take the time to get to know our children, instead of, you know, just telling us, oh, you know, we're gonna do this today, you know, I don't really care what y'all do, you know, I don't care what you guys are saying, you know, I don't care, you know, stuff like that. So I just feel like we should, you know, listen sometimes, instead of just telling our children, you know, you're gonna do what I want you to do, and I don't really care about your feelings.
All right, thank you so much. Now, my sisters, my brothers, is Reverend D. Dawkins Hagler here? All right, as soon as she comes in, send her down front. Now, brothers and sisters, we have with us today someone who aspires to serve the Connectional Church at a higher level, desires to serve as the Chief Information Officer, the General Secretary of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, an absolutely outstanding person. I think she would make an absolutely outstanding General Secretary, and she's come all the way from Texas to come and press her case before the 6th Episcopal District. Let me present the Reverend Tyranda Burgess, presiding elder in the 10th Episcopal District, candidate for General Secretary. Reverend Burgess, give her a big hand. She preached for us in the Augusta Conference and wrecked the house.
Thank you, Bishop. To Bishop Reginald Thomas Jackson, he is the extraordinary presiding prelate of this 6th Episcopal District, to Supervisor Christy Jackson in her absence, to Dr. Jeffrey Cooper, if he's still in the room, the General Secretary and Chief Information Officer of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, to Dr. A.M.E. L. Davis, our President Dean of Turner Theological Seminary, and the Honorable Thomas Best, the member of the Judicial Council, to presiding elders, pastors, preachers, to the laity, to our YPDers, our RAYACers, to all those who are assembled here today. I am just ecstatic about being in the 6th Episcopal District again. I thank you, Bishop Jackson, for this opportunity to share with your planning meeting, and I especially thank you for your hospitality, your kindness, and your generosity to me and to my campaign as I seek to press my case for General Secretary of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. As Bishop has shared, my name is Tyranda House Burgess, and I want to be the next General Secretary, Chief Information Officer of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. I believe that the church has been building its communication systems for decades in a manner that has effectively informed, interpreted, and documented our policies, our polity, and our discipline. In the office of the General Secretary, Chief Information Officer, every round has gone higher. I thank God for the innovation and the creativity that has been demonstrated in this office through the years, and I believe that every round goes higher and higher. And I believe that I can continue to build on the legacy of the General Secretary, Chief Information Officer's position, and I can be the person that helps us to continue to creatively manage our record keeping and be the primary disseminator of information as we go forward in this new century. Every round goes higher. There is higher ground for the office of the General Secretary, Chief Information Officer, and I'm asking you to let me take you there with the help of the Lord. Let's keep building with Burgess. Let's keep building with Burgess, and every round goes higher. Please consider me, and I know we can keep building with Burgess. My name is Tyranda Burgess, and I want to be the next General Secretary, Chief Information Officer of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. 6th District, I need your prayers, I need your support, and I need your vote. Come on and follow me at www.burgessforgeneralsecretary.com. And again, and let's keep building with Burgess. Again, my name is Tyranda Burgess. Thank you, and thank God for the work that God continues to do in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Won't you join me as we continue to keep building with Burgess? Thank you, Bishop, and God bless you, 6th District.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And again, I think she is an absolutely outstanding candidate. All right, are there any other candidates here that I missed? Any other candidates that I missed? All right. Now, my sisters, my brothers, the Christian Education Congress is going to be July the 12th to the 15th at the Augusta Marriott Hotel. July 12th to the 15th at the Augusta Marriott Hotel. I'm hoping that we will arrange to have as many of our congregants and as many of our young children and youth in attendance. We're seeking to put together, and we'll have a meeting and give some input as we put together our program for the Leadership Congress. It's important that it be a teaching and a learning opportunity. A teaching and a learning opportunity. That's it. Were there any questions on the Leadership Congress? Ms. Brown, you want to say you got something? And if I'm correct, what's the registration for the Youth Congress? All right. Okay. All right. Did Reverend Pearson get back? All right. Now, brothers, let me say this. Now, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Stacey Abrams will be with us. She will be here at 10 o'clock. Well, she'll be here at 9:30. I have a private meeting with her at 9:30. She will address the conference at 10 o'clock. I hope all of you will be here and in place so we can begin promptly at 10 o'clock. I'm hoping, you know, it's so much going on in Georgia, and the eyes of the country are going to be on Georgia. And so I suspect the press will probably be with her tomorrow. I just want us to make sure that we are in place and that we represent a big fly, the church well. If you want, you are welcome to invite any of your friends or family who may want to come. But I do ask you, please, at 10 o'clock prompt, to be in your place. The A.M.E. Church, and I want to thank you, has become a major influencer in Georgia. I don't think there's a faith body in Georgia that carries more influence than the A.M.E. Church. And I hope that we will not take that for granted. And I really think if we do our part and do what we need to do, I think we can do in 2022 what we did in 2020 in Georgia. I want to really thank the 6th District because you have been extremely supportive of all that we've tried to do. So let me thank you again for that so very much. Now, I may comment on this tomorrow, but in each of the conferences, in each of the 6 conferences, I will appoint leadership because we have managed to secure some funding on our Get Out the Vote effort. And I think in the 2020 election, we gave stipends to hundreds of volunteers from the 6th District. And I want to thank those volunteers because they did a Herculean job. In 2020, in the Augusta Conference, it was Augusta Hall. In the Southwest Conference, it was Joseph Baker. In the Georgia Conference, the coordinator was Bernard Clark. And the Macon, anybody remember who it was in the Macon Conference? I have to find out who it was in Macon, and I can't remember who it was in the Atlanta North Georgia Conference. But anyway, we will again have leadership in each conference, and the leadership in that conference is responsible for selecting the persons who will indeed be working on the campaign.
Bishop.
And so there will, yes, Elder.
It was Michael Martin. Michael Martin.
Okay, Michael Martin was in the Macon Conference. Thank you, Elder. So again, we will do that, and I'm hoping that you will help us with all that we can. Help us with all that we can. But let me simply say, elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. And so it's imperative that we vote. And again, one of the problems is there is this feeling that blacks can just be manipulated because we don't think well. When I say that, every voting rights bill that they're trying to block from passing is so that it would be harder for blacks to vote. That's the intent. And the feeling is that if you make it harder for us to vote, we'll get frustrated and won't vote. The reason we want to make sure that as many of our people as possible vote early is because what they did in 2018, they changed voting sites, they changed a whole bunch of stuff, and people went to polling places and didn't realize that polling places had been changed and all of that. And you ended up with these long lines, people had to stand in line 4 or 5 hours. And so now one of the reasons in SB 202, they put in you can't give water or snacks to people in line because they feel if you stand in line long enough, you'll say, the heck with this and go home. It's not coincidence, it is intentional. And so we must do, again, is to get our people to vote early. Our goal in 2020 was to get 75% of blacks to vote early. And I want to thank you because we, I believe, exceeded our goal. There were no long lines in any urban areas in Georgia in Election Day 2020. And in fact, the thing that got y'all's former president so upset was that when he went to bed on election night in 2020, he was winning in Georgia by 300 and some thousand votes. But what happened is, on election day, they counted the votes of those who voted on election day. The day after election day, they started counting the votes of those who voted early. About 1.5 million people voted early. Most of them were people who looked like us. And when you counted the votes of those who voted early, that's the reason Joe Biden won the state of Georgia. So we have got to do that again in 2022. And we're going to have to do a lot to help our people to vote early because the way they've changed some of the election laws is specifically designed to make it harder for us to vote. In addition to that, beginning in July, there would be a weekly message from me leading up to the election, because one of the things we've got to do is not to allow folk to fool us, because the strategy that they have for the 2022 election is to say that blacks ought to be discouraged, that we ought to be frustrated, or we ought to be mad because a lot of stuff was promised to us in the 2020 election that was not delivered on. For example, the George Floyd policing reform wasn't passed. Voting rights wasn't passed. Then critical race theory, all of that crazy stuff they passed. And what they don't tell you is the reason the George Floyd Policing Reform Act didn't pass is because they blocked it. The reason voting rights legislation hadn't passed is because they blocked it. In the Senate, you need 60 votes. Democrats only have, well, they really only got 48 votes. You see, and so that's why they haven't passed. So it's not that they didn't try to pass it, but it's because there were not 60 votes in the Senate. They blocked it from passing. And so rather than getting mad and getting discouraged and throwing up your hands and talking about, I ain't gonna vote because they didn't deliver, then you better get to the polls and vote, because if they get back in charge, it's gonna be worse. I do not want Mitch McConnell to be majority leader again. And so it's imperative that we vote. The reason the Supreme Court looks the way it looks is because elections have consequences. And in fact, blacks in Georgia, you ought to feel ecstatic because the United States of America owes blacks in Georgia. Because the fact of the matter is, Ketanji Jackson would not be a member of the United States Supreme Court if it was not for blacks in Georgia. If we did not win the seat with Ossoff and Warnock, the Senate would not have passed Ketanji Brown Jackson for the Supreme Court. So the country owes us. And my thing is, I just want to make them owe us again. So I hope you will help us. Now, my brothers and my sisters, we have with us now the Reverend D. Dawkins Hagler, who is a good A.M.E., a candidate for Secretary of State in Georgia. She's my candidate for Secretary of State in Georgia. I'm going to send out something this week, but let me say it publicly. This is my candidate for Secretary of State in Georgia. If anybody asks you, where does Bishop Jackson stand, you all can tell them that D. Dawkins Hagler is Bishop Jackson's candidate for Secretary of State in Georgia. Let me present D. Dawkins, what's your last name? Hagler.
Thank you so much, Bishop. I am so glad to be here with you all today. I appreciate your leadership. I appreciate your support. And you all, I am actually excited about this camp. Is this better? Can y'all see me now? Okay, thank you. So I am actually very excited about this campaign. And let me tell you why I'm so excited. Even though we were the last ones in the race and we did not have as much money as everyone else, our message resonated all throughout Georgia. And guess what? The African Methodist Episcopal Church put me into the runoff. Let me tell you something. They had already counted me out. They had counted down this campaign. And you know what? We showed up and we showed out. And as a result, yesterday, I was very excited because let me tell you, yesterday I had a press conference. There were 5 people in this race. And the person I'm going to run off with, you know, she was well-funded, had $1 million, but there was 3 other black men in this race. There was Michael Owens, John Eves, and Senator Floyd Griffin. And on yesterday, we all got together at the Georgia State Capitol, and they all endorsed me. So we are on our way. Yes. So that means we're working hard out here in these streets. We had some people who had went the other way going in the first round, but they have switched over and have joined the campaign now. So we have the momentum, y'all. But I need y'all. We have got to do this, and I cannot do it without you. So I want to thank you all for all of the support you gave me up until now, but this is what we need. We have a runoff on June the 21st. Early voting starts June 13th. You have 5 days, June 13th through the 17th. And depending on where you are, there are a couple of counties that are going to allow for early voting on one Saturday, that Saturday going into the election. I don't know if they're going to do it before or after. They're still trying to decide today. But this is it. If you don't know about the election, that's because that is by design. You understand? Because in the past, before SB 202, you were given your absentee ballot, it was automatically sent to you once you did the first one. But it's not like that now. You have to ask for that ballot again. So if you didn't ask for your absentee ballot again, you may not have known that election was coming. And now that Brad Raffensperger made it through to the next level, he wasn't concerned about getting the information out that there was a runoff because he thought he might be in a runoff himself. And see, that's why representation matters. It matters who is sitting in those positions of power. It matters because we have things that need to be done and we can't change it unless people have access to the ballot box, unless they can vote. So we also have some people that think, you know what, we got too many black people running. But let me tell you something. Almost all of the black candidates that are running are very experienced and qualified. And in my race, I was the most qualified. I had the most policy experience. I had the most education. I had the most skill sets, the most leadership across the board when you had everything in. And that's why those 3 black men came with me, because they stood up yesterday and every last one of them said, D. Dawkins Hagler is the most qualified person in this race, and she could and will be the next Secretary of State of Georgia. But I can't do that without you, I promise. And let me tell you, this is going to be a hard race. Not just in the primary, but if we even get to November, it's going to be even harder. Because they are determined. They outvoted us in the primary. They are energized on the Republican side. So we've got to get energized too. And then I need y'all to do this. Everybody should have a card, right? Everybody got a card. This is what y'all got to do this. You got to take a picture of this card. You have got to put this on social media. If you don't have social media, you got to ask somebody who does have social media to put it on social media. We have to run a hard, aggressive campaign because now we have less than 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, we have 2 weeks and 5 days to get this message all across the state of Georgia, right? So you got to tell people. You got to tell people. You got to tell people. Say, look at your neighbor and say, you got to tell people. Yes, you got to tell people. Next, I need money, right? Because I can't run this without money. I know it's good when y'all clap your hands, it's good when you say congratulations, but I need some dollars behind this. You know what I'm saying? And not change, but dollars, right? Real money. I need it. Real money in this campaign. To give to me, you can go to www, my website is on the card, .deeforgeorgia.com. deeforgeorgia.com to make a contribution. And then finally, I need y'all to pray. Because, see, I'm not going to rule out prayer. Prayer changes things. People counted us out. They didn't think it was even going to be a runoff, but we did it. And that was because people got together, they organized, they gave money, and they prayed. So I need y'all to come on, to organize, share, pray, give, share, pray, give. Remember that. Y'all just got to say that. Share, give, pray, whatever order you want to do it, but do all 3. And I appreciate you. And, Bishop, I am finished. And I got to go, y'all, because I got a fundraiser at 7 o'clock in Atlanta. But I'm telling y'all, we are ready. We're hitting the ground running, and we are going to just keep pushing it so that on June 21st, when they call that name, it's going to say D. Dawkins Hagler is the Democrat nominee for Georgia Secretary of State. Thank you.
All right, now I hope you all will give D. Hagler not only your prayers, I hope you'll give her a little piece of change. In fact, let me take that back. When I was in Delaware, a preacher asked me for some change, and I reached in my pocket, and he said about $20. I told him that ain't change, so don't give her no change. Give her some soft money, all right? Give her some soft money. All right, Sister Hagler, go press your case, all right? Now, brothers and sisters, we're going to get ready to close and get ready for our, now, I'm not sure if y'all want to eat because you just ate a couple hours ago. Yeah, but 7 o'clock service tonight. And the preacher for tonight is easily among the most capable preachers in the world today. Dr. Jackson is a terrific preacher. What did I say his last name was? That's what it is. He is a terrific preacher. Terrific preacher. And I want you to come back tonight to hear Dr. Jackson proclaim the word. 7 o'clock, Dr. A.M.E. Davis wants to meet with the Turner alumni. Immediately after the close of this session, you can stay right in here and meet with Dr. A.M.E. Davis. Now, brothers, where's Reverend Scott from St. James, Savannah Center? Now, y'all, I want y'all to follow me. Follow the bishop leadership. Y'all gonna follow me? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Reverend. Happy birthday to. Now let's do it like you're supposed to do it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Oh. Now, Brother Jackson, we hope you have it. Our Brother Scott, hope you have a terrific birthday, and you can tell the people the bishop sang to you on your birthday. Did I sing? Yeah. Well, where y'all think Virginia learned how to sing from? I just don't believe in showing off, that's all. That's all. Now, brothers and sisters, before we close, let me say this. I really do need y'all's prayers. You know, this is a tough meeting. And some things I have to do, and I'm trying to get them worked out. And in the 6 years I've been in Georgia, this is the hardest it's been for me to deal with some adjustments I need to make. So I want you to be in prayer for the bishop. If I don't have time to talk to you about this, because I've got to deal with this for tomorrow night. So just be in prayer for the bishop. And let me say it again, hardest thing the bishop does is make appointments. And some people go out of their way to make it difficult to make appointments. When I make appointments and send pastors to churches, I try to be upfront and honest with them on where I'm sending them. But if you're not upfront and honest with me, then that makes it impossible for me to be upfront and honest with them. If you're at a church and say you're making a certain salary, and I send a pastor to that church, that's the salary I and they are expecting them to receive. To get there and find out that you've not been receiving your salary for months is absolutely unfair. I can't send somebody to a church and they're not getting paid, and these folk have families just like you have families. If you've been at a church and you're not productive, if you're not productive, somebody needs to go there who's going to be productive. If you've not taken ministry seriously and you don't decide to get serious until you're about to get moved, that's too late. Now, I love the Lord and I love this church. I love my pastors. I love the churches. But I'm also going to do what I know is right. So now you may not be happy, but I'm going to do what I think is right. So if I've been here 6 years and you've done whatever you wanted to do for 6 years and you felt there would be no consequence, you know, one of the reasons why I know I need prayer is because I do know what my shortfalls are. One of my shortfalls is, and you've heard me say it before, I will take a lot. I will take an awful lot. And you always say the bishop's too soft. The bishop doesn't like conflict. The bishop this and that. Well, the problem with that is, when I reach a point where I've had it, I've had it. And nothing but the Lord is going to change my mind. As I'm saying to you, that's where I am. On some appointments, nothing but the Lord himself is going to change my mind. So that's why I say, please take ministry seriously. We say God called us to this. So we ought to act like this is God's purpose for our lives. So I want you to be in prayer for the bishop. Because I'm telling you, I need the last 2 nights I've tossed and turned. I'm so silly I started singing the song. Tossing and turning, turning and tossing, tossing and turning all night. So you all pray for the bishop. Seriously, pray for the bishop. All right, I will see you all at 7 o'clock tonight. Elders, I will meet with you